Ah, the greatest sound in the whole world. Something that's been cooking, in a sense, for almost 2 weeks now that we're finally going to get to utilize. Let's see. Oh, yes. That just reeks of incredibly sweet pineapple. Welcome, everybody. Andrew Zimmern, AZ Cooks Instagram Live Edition, sponsored by the good people at Shun Cutlery, makers of all kinds of fine kitchen knives and utensils, and our friends at Flor de Caña Rum, who we are saluting today in regards to their Zero Waste Month activation. Flor de Caña has been a sponsor of mine for a couple of years now, and I have been a big fan of theirs since I was made my first visit to Nicaragua 10 years ago, and maybe 12 years ago was the first time I was there. And Flor de Caña is, they have a huge line of rums, including a 25-year-old aged rum that sips like brandy. But I often like to entertain with rum punches and things like that in the summertime. Loved serving my friends Flor de Caña, and they had a challenge for me for Zero Waste Month and their big activation. Let me just say they are carbon neutral rum. They have incredible programs about planting trees because remember, they grow sugarcane, right? So they plant the sugarcane, then they cut all the sugarcane down. So in order to make a real impact on planet Earth, they try to address climate change, which is one of the world's biggest challenges, and to do that, they are addressing food waste. So they wanted me to use the world's most sustainable rum, which is Flor de Caña, and to use something that would be typical kitchen waste, right? And so I immediately rum and pineapple, and coconut. But I didn't know how to put coconut husks into a drink. Could serve it in one, but in Minnesota we don't use a lot of coconuts, but everyone loves pineapple. So 2 weeks ago, I cut a pineapple and I took all the trim, the bottom. We could have put the top in there had I washed it, but I used those greens for garnish. And had I held on to them in the refrigerator or freezer, I'd garnish that with this drink. I'm using lime zest instead. But I took all the husks of the pineapple and dropped it in with a bottle and a half, just because I had a large vessel of Flor de Caña rum, and wanted to make sure that I had enough rum to cover the pineapple, and we just let it infuse. I did a couple days at room temperature, and then I threw it in the fridge. And the result is something, if you put this under someone's nose, they would say, yeah, pineapple. So let's make our drink, because I want to then show you the food that we're making, which is traditional seafood boil. I tried to adapt a recipe that I use when I'm cooking outdoors to cook indoors. We threw our lemons in there, a cut garlic bulb, a habanero chili. I want this broth to be spicy. We have some Cajun seafood boil in there, and at the bottom are my potatoes, so that when we get going with everything, we can actually serve you this wonderful boil. Crushed ice in a nice big tumbler. Some crushed ice here, to which I'm going to add a healthy glug of the rum. I'm going to add some lime zest. I like taking it off with a zester just because you get a lot more infusion of that lime flavor in there. I saved this lime. I wanted to show you this is a good lime. I just zested it, 2 strips to put into the glass, and then the rest of it I used the microplane on. Lime juice goes in there. It's the juice of this lime, right? Think about that, right? Makes sense. We don't want to waste anything. And then I love coconut with this, and I want to put something sweet in there, so we have a little bit of Coco Lopez that we're going to throw in. And then we're going to shake. No jokes, please. I saw Tom Cruise in Cocktail, but I'm not throwing this up in the air. Anyway, a nice shake. Make sure that little fun. Well, you know, here's the thing. Vicky did 2 hours of arm work today. I did not. All right, and all we're gonna do is pour this lime and coconut infused cocktail over the crushed ice. Now, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Haven't lost the touch, but here's the fun part with this. I love accenting this with bitters, and the world of bitters has become so incredibly fantastic. So I've got some fig and fennel bitters here. You can use rhubarb bitters. I mean, we had so many to choose from. Vanilla bitters. You could float a little bit of Aperol over the top of it. It all works great. But that way the smell and that first taste that you get is really, really fantastic. And everybody has to have someone around to do their drinking for them. This is my 60-30 year. JP? Yeah, you're needed. He's in his office. This is my 60-30 year. It's my 60th birthday coming up. I'm in my 30th year of sobriety and have my anniversary in January. So I will be 60-30 this year, which is kind of numerically kind of fun. You're just supposed to taste the drink and tell us if it's okay.
Don't lie.
It's okay.
Is it all right?
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
Actually.
Yeah, I tested this on a couple people when we.
Really good.
Yeah, it's this is a brand new recipe. It's really pretty cool. But the pineapple in the rum. Now here's the fun part, because we are trying to make sustainability in food waste. Can you smell that? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
heavy duty.
heavy duty.
Heavy
Almost
duty.
like overpowering. Like it doesn't even smell like it's in booze.
Sip it, and that's just Flor de Caña. That bottle.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Vicky, are you going to work out later today?
No.
Oh, okay. So try.
School meeting.
There, oh, you have school. Perfect. Perfect. The English will be much easier to understand. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Try?
Pretty good. Okay. So, put that back there. Key messages.
So much easier.
Key messages. I created this zero waste recipe as part of Flor de Caña's Zero Waste Month. I did. Flor de Caña is partnering up with bars and restaurants around the world to create zero waste cocktails in the hope to reduce 9 tons of food waste during Zero Waste Month. There are more than 400 bars participating worldwide. Is my recipe, Vicky, going to get showcased anywhere?
YouTube?
Call them tomorrow. Besides, we're putting it on YouTube. We just made it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, they're having Zero Waste Month. Where's my juice in that?
I'll call them.
Throughout July, you can try these delicious, sustainable creations at a bar near you. Someone should be making my drink, not going to lie. Being an agent of change has never been so delicious. Join me in Flor de Caña in working together for a greener future. Here's the deal. If you want to find out more, we're going to have links in our post. You can go to zerowastecocktails.com. I'm sure there are links at flordecaña.com. So please, please, please check it out. All jokes aside, this company is constantly innovating, trying to do more for our planet. It's one of the many reasons why I salute them. Okay, we're going to throw in a couple more of our ingredients because we started this process about 15 minutes ago. We put the potatoes in at the right time. I want to show you. They're big, as new potatoes go. So I threw them in there 3 or 4 minutes longer than usual. Now what I want to do is I want to add our andouille sausage. Really, really important part of this. You can use kielbasa, good garlic Polish sausage. I'm going to add the clams. So what happens when we add the sausage and the clams? Well, the sausage essentially was room temperature, right? But those clams are icy cold. We don't want them to be room temperature. We want to make sure they're beautiful and healthy and alive. And we're going to adjust. I blew a line on the recipe. I was making this the other night and writing everything down as I went to try to test it. And I forgot a line or two that we're going to stick in there. So a half hour after we're done, the corrected recipe will be on our website. The one that's there right now I forgot about the onions and one other ingredient about when you throw them in. So we just need to add a sentence in there. I'm going to let those cook, and then I'm going to add my shrimp and my corn in there, and then we're going to serve this incredible seafood boil all together. Now, why do I like this recipe so much at this time of year? Number one, it's a great time of year to eat seafood and corn and sausage. And secondly, as much as I say, oh, I love everything from my garden and the grill, right now, I need to take a break from the garden and the grill. And this weekend, if you are eating, maybe you want something that isn't hamburgers with little American flags stuck in them. I mean, mix it up. It's a holiday. You got to make like 8 meals or something like that. And I think a seafood boil is a great way to take advantage of food on a budget that really impresses a crowd. Whether it's this pot, or do you want to take a slide over and just see this? This is a giant rondeau. It holds 1.5 times the volume, twice the volume of this. I can cook seafood boil for 20 people in there. And remember, with potatoes and corn, I mean, you should have, shrimp and crab and clams and all the seafood that you love in there. But by all means, take advantage of the fact that you can take up space in the tummy with the potatoes and the corn. It's a great way to stretch shrimp and clams. I think this one is really in balance. And my favorite part about this is that I have this great sauce that I like to serve it with.
How do you clean the clams?
Oh, the clams, I just scrub and let them sit in cold water for a while so they purge themselves. But great point, because I forgot to talk about the shrimp. So what we did with the shrimp is we just came down the back side, right, with a small utility knife and lifted the vein out. So it's deveined but shell on. And the reason is, when it cooks, I want all of those Cajun spices that we have in there, all those seasonings, to go in between shell and flesh. The other thing is that where is the greatest amount of flavor on a shrimp?
Head.
Correct, Vicky, the head. Second, the shell. The meat of the shrimp is third, right? Still has good shrimp flavor, especially if you're using a nice wild-caught shrimp. Let's raise the heat on there so it comes back to a boil a little faster. But by putting the shell in there, we're actually infusing our boil with more shrimp flavor. The shell allows me to cook these for about a minute longer in the boil, so there's more absorption and better flavor exchange between our seasoned water, which is now a broth, and the shrimp itself. If you throw peeled shrimp in there, it's done in 45 seconds, a minute. You throw these in there, they have to stay in there for 2-3 minutes to cook through, and that extra time allows for better flavor exchange between all my ingredients. It's super, super, super important, and I really want you to take note of that. Once that comes back to a boil, the corn will go in, we'll wait a couple minutes, we'll throw the shrimp in, and we'll serve it. I have my melted butter. This sauce is great with any kind of seafood. Yes?
Andrew, could you use a whitefish if you don't eat clams?
You could, but you don't want fish that's going to fall apart. So monkfish that has the center bone in it and cut 1-inch chunks where it's going to stay together. Monkfish would be fantastic in a seafood boil. Flounder would just fall apart into a million little pieces. So if you're going to put something in there because you don't eat clams, make sure it's going to hold together.
That's all we got. You can make your sauce now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vicki. I appreciate that. All right, so I have my melted butter. I have parsley, tarragon, and thyme. Whatever you happen to have lying around is fine. This is a fantastic combination. We just pulled them and set them on a tray. By the way, we were talking last night at one of our classes. No one's ever asked me why we have these trays. I think we got it at a garage sale. We got like 15 of these for $1, right? They're little school trays, but they wash in the washer, in the dishwasher. They're easy to clean, right? They're great for little mise en place stuff. And I just realized if you put a piece of newspaper or paper toweling on, and you had 6, 8, or 10 of these, all your guests could eat seafood boil on it. We're gonna serve it on a really cool French seafood tray that is not just for seafood on ice. This is typically seen when people do a raw shellfish plateau de mer, something like that. Shucked oysters, clams, cooked shrimp, but you can also do it with a hot boil. So now I'm going to season, and I'm using one of my favorite condiments in the whole world, which is my aged Worcestershire sauce from Bourbon and Barrel. Worcestershire and seafood go so well together. I want about a tablespoon in there. Then I have my Crystal hot sauce, which you know I can't live without. My favorite all-purpose hot sauce to cook with.
What's that coconut ingredient that you added? Someone's asking.
Coco Lopez, you mean in the...
Yes.
Yes, that was in the cocktail. Okay, now, I don't know if you've ever been screwed over like I have just now. Look at how just asshat terrible that lemon is. I mean, that's like a half-inch pith.
Who bought it?
The zest is great. I don't know. Sean? Vicky just can't... Vicky loves to give poor Sean, who amongst other things is our office manager, so much grief. This is, you talk about a workout, I don't think Vicky could even squeeze this, and she's the strongest person in the office. Best way to squeeze lemons when it's like this, because they're really hard. I mean, look at how little fruit is in there. Cut it in a piece so that you can really get your hand around it and get as much juice out of there as possible. If you don't do... I always have taught myself to open lemons at an angle, not to cut it in half at the waist, because you're really, really screwed. And speaking of zero waste, instead of throwing this out, throw it into your boil. More lemon, the merrier, right? Really, really acidic.
Someone is asking if you can tell a good lemon before you cut it.
Well, you can squeeze them, but oftentimes you can't really tell. If they're super hard, chances are the pith... God, there we go. Chances are the pith is really, really thick.
Sean should have known.
He should have known. Thank you. That's a really good part. By the way, I don't like to call attention to people, but Emily, how long have you been here now?
A few weeks.
A few weeks. Emily's new here. She's been here a couple of weeks, and already she's into the shit-giving attitude at the office, where whoever is not in the room gets everything blamed on them. Bravo, Emily. You have a huge future. That's the kind of mentoring and incredible work that I do with young people here at the office to teach them the important parts of diplomacy and relationship building in the world as they head out into their lives. So I'm just going to puree this. The lemon juice, the warm butter, all comes together. And then you don't want to refrigerate it because the butter will solidify and will separate prior to solidifying. I like to serve this at room temperature, but I make sure that I get this on the highest speed so no one's biting into little pieces of time, and I really get all of that flavor out in there. There we go. All right. So, this now goes there, and that becomes an herby, spicy butter sauce for all of that poached stuff. Now, I talked before about this coming back to a boil. Once it comes back to a boil, my onions, my sausage, it's already cured and smoked, right? So I don't need to do anything else to that in terms of cooking. But because it has fat in it and it's an emulsified sausage, right? It just needs to be heated through. So I'm going to put the corn in, and I'm going to let that go for another couple of minutes, just to make sure that my corn is cooked. Then the shrimp will go in, and that is the very last thing that we are going to cook in there. Then the solids all go into here. And I'm going to show you something very cool. I I do a lot of stuff like this, and I often have these big pots with different stews and things. I have a giant tawa that I just bought. Well, I didn't just buy it, it just came to me. I ordered it 18 months ago, and it finally came from India, all the way from Delhi, from a shop that specializes in them. And a tawa is something that's used in all the Desai countries, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, etc. And it's a giant disc with handles on it, and it's at least 2/3 solid steel, thick. It's not bendy. You could put that over a flame and cook street food on it all day long, 365 days a year for 10 years, and it will never alter. It's this big, and it's an inch deeper in the center than it is at the edges. It just gently slopes down. So sometimes you cook things in liquid in there and you let it reduce. I do a lot of things like this, different kinds of seafood boils or big things of bouillabaisse or cioppino, things like that, different seafood stews. So I have a smaller one that's brass, that's about this big, that I use all the time here to fish things out of boiling liquid. But I also have this big one. And, for whatever this cost me, $7, $8, it's something that I'm so glad I have it, because it's going to lift all of that stuff out there and go right here when I am done with this. Okay, that is all I'm looking for. Oh, it's back to a boil. So remember, we cut these ears of corn, right? So once they come back to a boil, I don't want to overcook the corn, right? So I'm not worried about the corn being done in 2 or 3 more minutes, right? It's in boiling water right now, and it's cut into little 2-inch sections. And these shrimp are pretty cold, right? So I don't want to dump them all in the middle. I just want to scatter them.
What are you making? We got some new
This
people here.
This is a seafood boil. I don't want to call it low country. That would be the southern Atlantic states. I don't want to call it a Cajun boil. Number one, we're not making it in Acadiana. We're not making it in central and north central Louisiana. I'm not Cajun. But I have taken 2 or 3 different boil recipes from friends of mine that have taught me how to do this over the years, including episodes of the show. People always ask me how I come up with some of this stuff. And I should say this, I've had seafood boils, back to when I was a kid traveling with my dad down south, when I'm on vacation down south, when I'm traveling, friends will entertain large groups with a seafood boil. Every year at an event in Boston for Lovin' Spoonfuls, a waste food rescue organization that I'm on the advisory board of, Boston-based chef Tiffany Faison, who's just a remarkable cook, always makes a seafood boil, and I stand there and eat it until I'm stuffed. It's my favorite. Her seafood boil is great. So I've eaten seafood boil all of my life, and I just started playing around with it at home. It's a very, very simple thing. You just need to boil water and get it seasoned, and then one by one add all your ingredients. I think the most important step in the whole seafood boil process is probably the first one, which is when you get your water boiling, and not too much of it, you add your lemons and your garlic and your cayenne and your bay leaves and your Cajun seasoning and all the rest of that kind of stuff, and let it boil for 10 minutes. Then add your potatoes and let it go for 12 minutes. And then little by little you add all your ingredients, starting with the things that take the longest to cook. And eventually you're going to wind up with that. The moment this comes back to a boil, I think those shrimp are going to be ready. They're almost ready, and it's almost coming back to a boil. We're just going to let that sit there and get hot for a second. Next comment or question?
So we've had some people here debating if gas or induction is better.
Always gas. I use this because it's great to teach with, and we can put a cover on this and use this to serve 30 people at a seated dinner. One of the things that we haven't done in a while is kind of show you where we are, but this is our studio kitchen. And while it's very messy behind you today, back in the, do you remember a long time ago, pre-COVID, when people would get together at events, we would hold them here. So we've done political fundraisers for 200 people, for friends of mine running for governor, or Senate, or Congress, or local office here. We have done private dinners that we donate. When I give away dinner to a charity, we'll put 10, 12, 14, 30 people in here. We're doing a cooking class for 30 people in October. That should be a lot of fun. Folks who hired me to do a Zoom event and then change it into a live one. So I also teach off this. So it's really valuable to not have all that flame fine leaning over. It's a lot safer, and it allows us to showcase different type of cooking. We have a 6-burner back here with a plancha, 2 ovens, and we have another, what do we have back there, 4 or 6? 6. And we have another 6-burner and little prep kitchen and dish area back there. So we can do a lot of food out of here if need be. And not having this be one of these is sort of helpful.
Who taught you how to cook?
A lot of really, really kind, gracious people. Including my grandmother, my mother, lots of people. But I learned something from everyone. I mean, and that includes you folks who send recipes and pictures where you change something up because you didn't have an ingredient. Everyone here in this building has taught me how to cook at one point or another. So, I mean, it's really pretty cool. Vicky went to Spain, and the last couple years that the last couple times that she's gone, she's brought me back this, first year was a lemon and almond nougat, and last year was a lemon and pistachio nougat. So now my big thing is perfecting nougat and nuts at home. And once I perfect it, which is cool candy making, we'll probably do that in Christmas time. So Vicky helped teach me that. So it's, right? It just depends.
That's why you hired me? Get you some.
It is because I wanted to steal your family heirlooms and recipes.
What are you cooking this weekend?
Oh my gosh, hold on 1 second. We'll get into that because I need to get serious with all you people about how we're gonna do this. I'm trying to leave a lot of my lemons behind. I know we can always toss them back in, but I even want you to eat the poached garlic that's in there, right? Why not? This is so yummy. And there's always someone who wants to eat the habanero. So we're gonna save that right there. I'm gonna push some of those lemons to the side. Make sure I get all of those shrimp in there. We are almost done. Now this, I'm guessing, with a pound of shrimp, a pound of clams, a pound of sausage, a couple ears of corn cut in lengths, pound or so of potatoes. You got 5-6 pounds of food, right? So, why wouldn't you? Crab and seafood boil, which also makes a great seasoning. I've got some nice Cajun seasoning that we pour over this. And let that sort of all filter down. So how do we increase that filter down process? Super simple. I just take some of this because I just want it to keep hot, and I just want it to drag some of the seed, not all. I'm going to let it spun. I'm just going to drag that around. And I'll sometimes put a bowl of seasoning. There's always more hot sauce on the table. We have the great butter sauce. Probably put some Cajun seasoning over that. But if there is something, and by the way, can you sit there and throw some herb sprigs on there? Well, sure you can, if you wanted to. Am I serving this in a restaurant? Abso-fucking-lutely not, right? This is going down on the table with a bunch of ice cold beers, some of those Flor de Caña drinks. Another bottle of Flor de Caña, another bottle of Flor de Caña frozen in a block of ice with lots of fresh mint from JP's garden. And you put this down in front of people, maybe to nosh on as a light, delicate hors d'oeuvre while you're grilling something, right? Because that's just how I roll.
We have an interesting question.
Yeah, go on, and
No.
don't let me forget to talk about what I'm cooking this weekend.
Okay. Any tips for making a whole roasted alligator in the oven?
Haha!
I have a 3-foot gator in the fridge.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That's so good. It's not overwhelmingly spicy. It's got really, really nice heat. If you want more heat on it, by all means, go ahead. I like that nice, warm, spicy wash across the back of my mouth. And I like to put hot condiments out for people. That's why I want to put more hot sauce, bottle of Crystal, on the table. It's why I have spices in there. It's why you might put chili vinegar on the table or other spicy condiments, right? Because that is so, so yummy with all of this. But if you blow people's mouths out and all they're tasting is seafood boil and the 1,500 ghost peppers you threw in there, then we're going into gimmick land. Okay, so you want to roast a whole alligator. I know the head is a really important part of presentation, but that is a good 25% of the length of the body, especially the younger that they are. So you can always roast your head separately and then put it in front of your presentation. You can also take the tip of the tail off. I know that's really tough because people care about the presentation. If you can put it in and bend up, you can cook it in a big strap pan. It's worth going to a restaurant supply store always. And because I have like all-clad roasting pans and heritage steel roasting pans and really fun roasting pans, but I also have a strap pan that fits my oven that's deep and is sized to go edge to edge. And you can do that. If I had a 3-foot alligator in my refrigerator and I was cooking it, I would do it low and slow and then fire it up the temperature on the grill and baste it during the last 15, 20 minutes when I really wanted to crisp up the outside. Fresh gator meat is absolutely fantastic. So not that strange a question. Bravo, America.
What are you cooking this weekend?
Lots of, big lobster bake. I think we're doing pizza. We're going to throw lots of meat on the grill. Lots of yummy sandwiches on the beach. Lots of fresh fruit at the beach. Gazpacho I'm going to make this weekend because I really want to. And I don't know. That's probably it. A lot will be dictated by what I find in the market and how crowded it is there. I should also, full confession, I am traveling for my birthday weekend and spending time with a handful of my oldest friends in the whole world back in the town of my birth. So it is, it's less about the food, more about the people that I'm with. Because I turned 60, which is great. 60 is the new 40. Also, I have the body of a 30-year-old and the filthy mind of a 17-year-old. So I've got it all going on. I got grandpa on the face and everything else in the right place.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza topping? My favorite pizza is the marinara pizza with thinly sliced garlic and a sprinkle of oregano at Pizzeria Bianco in in Phoenix, Arizona. I like just the cheese and tomato Sicilian style at Spumoni Gardens. I like, the margarita pizza style, tomato, mozzarella, basil at 100 different places. Sometimes fatty meats wind up pooling oil that doesn't taste good on pizza. But when I'm at a place like Roberta's in New York City, the pepperoni pizza is extraordinary, right? When I'm at Mozza in LA, pepperoni pizza is extraordinary. Charred full cups that are just insane. I'm very partial, if I'm making pizza myself, really thin slices of Calabrian salami that's very spicy. And with that, I want something woodsy and very thinly sliced mushrooms. Super, super, super hot wood burning oven. Works really, really well. That's a great combination. And yes, I am one of those people who likes pineapple and Canadian bacon on a pizza. There's nothing wrong with that.
Favorite type of shellfish?
Oh my God! Again, that's like what's your favorite band? I don't know. Too many. The shellfish world is fantastic. I'm very from the valved and bivalve families. I love good mussels. Good mussels are out of control. Gooey duck clams, one of my favorite things. I'm a big clam guy in general, crab, lobster, shrimp. In that whole side of things, they're all delicious to me. I will say this. Alaskan king crab, when it's not frozen, is out of control, especially when it's, and I like it alive. So I will order whole ones and cook that once or twice a year. And if a restaurant has it on their menu or in the alive in a seafood tank, I love ordering that up.
Okay, now you brought it up, so what's your favorite band?
What is my...
You can't say it. Now people want to know.
No, do you want to know something? I've got a list on Spotify. I think it's Traveling and Cooking Music. I did a podcast called World's Best Music. I just retweeted it today. I forget the name of the podcast, but it's all about your 5 favorite songs. So we discussed like my 14 or 15 favorite bands. And I don't know how you choose between bands that I can't get enough of, like The Clash, can't get enough of The Grateful Dead, can't get enough of Led Zeppelin, can't get enough of, so many different bands. And there's so many great new bands today. I can listen to the Black Keys all day long. I can listen to, of course, now I'm blanking on her name. I just heard a brand new artist who, right before COVID, it sort of broke big. Her real name is Caroline, but that's not her. The name that she plays under or her band. Oh my God, why can't I remember this? You know what we're going to have to do? Abby, help me remember. In a couple weeks, when I'm back, we should do a music episode. Music and food, so that I can answer that question properly. Because there's a lot of contemporary bands that I listen to. I know it's crazy, but I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old kid, so I am as familiar with DaBaby and Juice WRLD and contemporary hip hop music as the next guy.
Are you gonna do like food song pairings?
No, definitely not. That is so. Can I tell you something? When I'm in a place, you know who can pull that off? Dominique Crenn. After that, nobody else should try. She writes poems that accompany her food, and she has music that accompanies her food. But unless you're executing at the level that she can execute at, just don't try to do it.
Are you going to the state fair this year?
Oh my! Every day. Who isn't? I have a bone to pick with Show Me the News. What's the Minnesota-based one? Bring Me the News. Bring Me the News. I tweeted something out that I didn't like gimmick food at the state fair, and Bring Me the News kind of, didn't. I wish they would have called me so I could have discussed it more with them. There's a time and a place for gimmick food, but when everything turns into a gimmick, you water down the concept of the state fair. I am not a purist. I like having innovative and new foods. I just want to make sure that the people who are executing them are actually executing them. One of the best restaurants in the upper Midwest is called the New Scenic Cafe. It's way up north. I think they're the ones who finally got a booth at the fair, but they're doing sashimi. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. I don't think that's state fair food. What can I say? All right. So, this is so ridiculous. Please, please, please make a seafood boil one day. You can also do this for 2 or 3 people. Super, super easy. Just shrink the recipe down. It's great. And the nice thing about this is that leftovers are not a problem because it's just been boiled, right? And it's such a great way to enjoy seafood, potatoes, sausage, corn, big pieces of onion that I love. I love eating the big pieces of onion with all of this incredible seafood and corn. It's great. You have a nice sauce that goes with it. Put lots of Crystal hot sauce on the table. Give everyone you love a big plate like this, and you'll be the most popular person at your parties this summer. Thank you to Shun, but also to the good folks at Flor de Caña. One of the things that we do is we afford our sponsors opportunities. We've done episodes of AZ Cooks Instagram Live where we have highlighted Shun's products. We love being able to highlight our sponsors. Flor de Caña has a special activation around food waste this month that I think is fantastic. We're gonna have the link to our website, right? And all that kind of, or the link to their 400 bars worldwide that are helping them drive information about food waste and helping to save 9 tons of food material this month. We all can do our part and make the world a better place, right? I love you all. Happy, happy, happy birthday to me. Happy, happy birthday to any other fellow Cancers that are out there or anybody celebrating this weekend except David Duke, whose birthday was today. Don't like him. He's a bad person. He's a bad person. Let's celebrate the birthdays of really good people like Princess Diana, right? Her birthday today as well. Molly Mogren's birthday today. Lots of famous celebrities have birthdays. Anyway, love you all. Have a great, great, great weekend. See you next week. Recipe is on our website. Shun, Flor de Caña. Music coming soon. This is not going to affect this show at all. But in a way it does, because how could this product be not be affected by losing someone who has brought so much to our office? Vicky, who has worked here for 2 years, is leaving us. Tomorrow is her last day. And she has done so much to make all of our offerings here in the social and digital space special and unique. They will continue to be special and unique because the person taking over for her is fantastic and wonderful. It's going to be special and unique in a slightly different way. I believe that everyone brings something really wonderful and personal to the work that they do here in our office. I just want to take the chance publicly to thank her. Vicky, what's your fitness account on Instagram Live if people want to see what you're up to when you're not here?
Vico Fit.
Vico Fit. Is that V-I-C-K-O?
Yeah, V-I-C-O.
V-I-C-O.
F-F-I-T.
F-F-I-T.
Yeah.
Wow, that was interesting
Vico
spelling.
Fitness,
You must.
I think.
Oh, okay.
God, you're making me.
No, it's fantastic. I learned how to do a
Thanks.
proper squat the other day. Thank you, Vicky.
Thanks, Andrew.
Vicky works out 9 hours a day, sleeps for 2, and then comes into work. That's basically what she does. But yes, she's a grad student. Social media and digital stuff was something she was interested in, but it's not her career. And so we're thrilled that she can move on and do stuff. She's going to be a big, famous person owning lots of companies someday. And hopefully in my old age, I will be able to work for her when I run out of cash and have to return to the workforce in my 90s. She'll think about it, exactly. I'll bring the dog.
Oh, okay, then
I'm
that's
in.
good, yeah.
I'm in. Anyway, happy holidays, everyone. See you next week.